Welcome to the KC Stars, where we talk to people in the local film community. And we have with us Daniel Fecht, actor and more. Um,
Rick Daniels.
Rick
Rick
Daniels, I
Daniels.
apologize. So I can't even hardly call you Rick. I know that's your performance name, so Rick Daniels. Um, Rick, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Well, what would you like to know?
Well, when did you get started on performing?
Well, I got started in 1993 in a classic entitled Zombie Bloodbath. Uh, I was uh, I was working as a psychologist at the time, and I saw I guess, a casting notice, but I had to work that night. And as soon as I got off, I scurried over to I think, the Plaza Library where they had been holding the casting meeting. And they were going out as I was coming in. And I spotted the director, who was Todd Sheets. And I said, "Man, it looks like I missed it." He said, "Yeah, you did." But he said, "I'll tell you, everybody wants to be in this thing, but nobody wants to work on any of my crews. So if you work on one of my crews, I guarantee that I will get you into at least one scene." So for the entire summer, I actually worked on the lighting crew, and I worked as a zombie wrangler because this movie was called Zombie Bloodbath. And am I still up there?
You have a little bit of a
I'm
delay.
getting
It's probably your
I'm
Wi-Fi.
not sure. I have a thing. It says connecting to Zoom Workplace now. But anyway, I'll continue if as long as you can hear me, I guess. Um, anyway, so I labored on the lighting crew and learned just a little bit about lighting, and I kept tabs of on the zombie extras, and so I coined the title Zombie Wrangler, and I actually am credited on IMDb as a zombie wrangler. Probably one of the only people in the world, one of the few anyway, who is ever credited as a zombie wrangler. And not only did I get into the film, the promise was I'd be in makeup as a zombie extra, but I actually got a single line, and I was in the prologue, and I got to say, "Sir, the radiation level is too high. We have to evacuate the facility," at which time I was hit in the face with radioactive dust or something and melted down on camera. So that was how I got into it, and off and on from that time, I've been working in films, and since I retired, I have gotten a little bit busier in film.
Yeah, and I know you. I'm going to list off what I know. Army, police officer, psychologist. What am I missing?
Uh, Seminar leader, security guard, learning center supervisor, mobile disc jockey, uh, ecdysiast, stripper, um, hamburger flipper, recreation leader. That's about it.
That's a lot. And with you, just because I actually do know you fairly well, um, probably know you better than anybody that's been on the show. I have taken the leeway to show some pictures and just have you ask about or tell us about these pictures.
Okay, let me see here
The
what
first
I
one
can
there.
see. I actually, I I can't see anything. Let me cancel that. I have a thing that says my account, test speaker, and mic. I'm trying to get rid of this. Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Oh, that is a film I did. Um, let's see. Oh, that was the one we did together, actually, and it was. Oh, I forgot the name of it, but I played the
Nikita.
German ambassador. What was it?
Nikita.
What?
It was called Nikita of the Full Moon when we were hired on, and then became Nikita Three Times Rejected Mate when they released it.
Yes, 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 yes. I was the German ambassador, and you were Mateo, the bad guy. Yeah,
That's shocking.
and
And there is something unique about you that you got the role. What was it?
I was speaking German. I guess that was it.
Yeah,
And yeah, I had to speak German, but that was okay because during my last 10 months of active duty, I was stationed in Germany, and I actually took German at the University of Maryland's European Division. So I had I guess it was kind of an immersion course because I was living in Germany at the time.
very cool. And what about this picture?
That was a homeless guy. I played that role in a film called Born to Raise Hell. It was the first film I did with Robbie Lopez some years ago, and he was delighted with my character. He just said it's a homeless guy, and I showed up in that outfit, and he said, "You look awful." I said, "Isn't that the idea?" He said, "Yes." It doesn't show, but I hadn't shaved in about 4 days, and I had the prosthetic teeth, and a little touch I was particularly proud of. You could see that the shoes do not match. And actually, I was looking for one pair, I couldn't find it. And I found two unmatched shoes. I said, well, that'd be great because that'd be like I pulled them out of a dumpster or something.
Yeah,
So
that's
anyway,
great.
yeah, that's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, and you and I worked with Robbie together. I like it that in River Beauty we actually had scenes together. Um, like
Oh
in
yeah,
yeah, Nikita, I saw you on set, but I we didn't actually. You were leaving as I was coming or something.
right, right.
And what is this?
Well, that's when I was a stripper. Um, I was Charles Chip Nelson Dale. Get it? Chip N. Dale. Charles Chip Nelson Dale, world's oldest marginally well built male exotic dancer. And I initially did that when I was, I guess, 66 years old. This is a year later, and I actually was invited to perform at the Florida Burlesque Festival. It was one of those things where everything falls into place because I had points to fly down on Southwest. I got a rental car that was really economical when all was said and done. It cost me $12 a day, and that included everything except the gas. Usually, when you get a rate that's quoted that low after they add all the little hidden charges and everything, it costs you 40 or 50 a day. But that was actually a little $12 a day subcompact. I stayed at a place called the Blue Ocean Guest House, which was actually just a regular house that had been converted into a guest house, and it was in a residential neighborhood. And the interesting thing was, a week later, the rates tripled. So, like I say, everything fell into place. The performance went well. It was a 2 night festival. I just performed the first night, kind of perhaps in what you'd call the new talent section. But they had some performers there who were members of the Burlesque Hall of Fame, and uh, the headliner was actually, she was world famous. I can't remember who she was, but she was world famous and had won some world burlesque title or something. And I made a few friends there that I am still burlesque, that I'm still Facebook friends with. So that was just a really great time. And I'd actually called the producer of the festival, and I wanted to do some traditional comedy burlesque sketches. And she said, "It's not that kind of festival. I can't use you for that, but I am interested in Rick." So, okay. So I went down and did Rick.
So tell me
So
what
that
you
is
did. What
pretty
was your performance?
well. It was a strip. And I stripped to bad to the not bad to the bone. That was what I did in other performances. It was let's see. It was a song by Elvis Steamroller. I'm a steamroller baby. I'm going to roll all over you. I did it, and if if you've never really had to take off your clothing to music, it's a lot harder than people just kind of take it for granted. But to get your clothing removal synced with the music does take some rehearsal, and it went real well. And at the end, I ended up in a G string and a hat, and they both had flashing lights that were synced, and I called it my electrifying finish. So
That
anyway,
is awesome.
of uh, that's the story of my time as an ecdysiast.
And what's this, Dan?
That's the Yes, that's the world premiere of Rennie, which is now on Amazon Prime. You can rent it or buy it. They don't have physical copies, but you can buy whatever it is you buy, and it's in your computer. Anyway, that is available on Amazon Prime, and it's a mockumentary behind the scenes at a small town Renaissance festival. Um, excuse me. I played Jack, the entertainment coordinator. It really is quite a good film. I am extremely proud of the role I played. I think I did a real good job.
You did a
I
great job on it.
Oh, did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it. You did a great job on it. Yeah, you were the
Oh,
kind of the guy in charge, and people didn't care
yeah, the
about what you
entertainment
had to say and
coordinator.
all that.
Yeah, I was the entertainment coordinator. Yeah, that was a great group to work with. I mean, man, I've had some good food on sets, but never like that. I showed up one day. I just had a really short scene, and I showed up. I'd already eaten, and they said, "Well, why don't you get something to eat before we aren't going to need you for about a half hour?" I said, "I just ate," and she said, "We've got brisket." Okay, and
That's
they,
great.
you know, they had like brisket and brownies and coleslaw, and oh man, I mean,
It's
uh,
wonderful. I remember we talked about it, and you'd said like just you've been around Kansas City so long that normally when there's a big group of actors, you know bunches, but you didn't really know anybody on set on this one, you said.
yeah, I don't think I knew. Now, the majority of the professional actors they used were stage actors,
Hmm.
and I mean, I knew of them because these are guys that uh, a lot of it was LBGTQ, and I'm not really a part of that scene, but several of the actors were very prominent in that subculture, I guess you'd say. and I had seen their names in advertisements and so forth. So, but they're just really nice. They had this PA, and I mean, I couldn't believe how sweet she was, and she had her name was Nadine, and she was from New Zealand, and she was just the loveliest young woman, and she couldn't do enough for everybody. I mean, she made everybody feel like a VIP. I just absolutely loved her. And um, anyway,
Oh, that's awesome. And what is this? I can see, I don't know, I can't even recognize, but I can recognize Miss South something, but I can see Miss Kansas and Miss Wisconsin for sure.
Miss Wisconsin, Miss I can't see it either.
It's okay. What is this?
That is National American Miss State and Regional competitions that were held up in I want to say Alto, Nebraska, but anyway, it's right near Omaha, just a little bit south of Omaha. It's actually like a suburb. It merges with Omaha. And I judged their top model competitions last year. So, yeah, that's my version of heaven there, just pretty much. I had a really nice, it was a volunteer gig, but they gave you mileage, and we were in a nice hotel. I can't remember the name of it. And this year I applied, I didn't get it. And I also applied for the nationals and internationals in Orlando, and I got two very nice rejection letters. But then a week later, they said somebody turned us down. And so if you want it, you got it. And so I'm slated to go down and do their national top model competitions later this year.
Wow. And I know you also like barbecue
Yeah.
contest.
Oh yes, I've been a certified barbecue judge with the Kansas City Barbecue Society. I think since 2012, maybe 2010. I'm not as rabid as some of the judges. I mean, they've got people who do a contest every weekend. I I'm just doing one, just a couple. I was supposed to do the really nice contest in Excelsior Springs a few weeks ago, but wouldn't you know it, the night before I got an upset stomach, and it was still with me when I woke up that morning, so I couldn't do it. But I'm supposed to do the Wings for Water in Lee's Summit next week, and then I'm going to do a one meat rib competition right here in my neighborhood in Gladstone in October. And that'll be it. That'll just be two for this year. I've had some other things come up and wasn't able to do some, but usually I do three or four a year. That's fine for me.
Well, I see you here, and I think they call this motion capture. Tell us about this picture.
This was one we did actually together. It was called the Bell Affair, and it's rotoscope animation, is what the process is called. And it's a historical film. It started out to be a regular film, and as you probably recall, they canceled the shoot twice. And before they wanted to, this was during COVID, and so they decided to do it via animation. And the way they did it is that they had everybody film their scenes from home against a green screen, and they sent us the requisite equipment and the action, and of course we had our lines, and they said, be engaging in this activity as you say your lines, and then we filmed them and sent them back, and somehow they turned it all into a very, what I was, in my opinion, a very impressive animated film. And it's won a few awards. And I believe it's also available on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, this was unique, and I don't remember if in the movie they showed us in any scenes together, but I think they did because I think I was the judge and everything. Like,
Oh, absolutely. You're the judge who, as I'm making my impassioned plea, you're sitting there shaking your head. I was, I
well, let
remember
me
it was
tell you,
so irritating. You
they
were
just
just,
had me film myself doing different things, and then they plugged him in wherever they wanted. So, I might be
right,
shaking my head or looking irritated or looking away or looking around. And they would plug those in as people were talking to show how I was receiving the people. Um,
right, right. I mean,
Kind of the B
they
rolls.
managed to merge these all into a very an animated film with very good continuity, and also it's an excellent film.
Well,
I
I was
don't.
impressed when they had people hugging each other. Um, and, I spoke to Mary Smith, who I didn't know at that time, and I didn't know you at this time. This was in 2020. Um, but they had just a few of us from Kansas City. Most of them were nationwide, a lot
Yeah, they were
further
from
away.
all over.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think
it,
they
it
put something in the actors and filmmakers Facebook group, and that's where we all saw it. So that got a whole lot of Kansas City applications.
right, right. They, I guess, they had quite a number of applications, and the well, everything about this film is interesting, and a lot of it's very unique. But what I didn't realize till I started to do a little research is my lines are actually from the transcript of the trials on which this film is based. These are the actual trials that took place in like 1835 or 1840, and those are my lines. I thought the writers had done this, but they actually just adapted them from the trial transcripts. So,
Wow. Well, they
and
had me, I did the same thing, but they also had me, my voice do roll call. And what I remember is I used to live in Southwest Missouri, as you know, Springfield, and there's a county there called Taney.
oh,
Um,
right,
and so it's where, I believe that's where Branson is in Forsyth, Missouri. And so when I read the roll call, there was someone named Taney. However, it was pronounced Tawny, so they had me redo the whole roll call. I just remember thinking,
ah,
I mean, I thought it was Taney, Taney, because that's what we call our county, but it's not the real pronunciation, I guess.
yeah. And you played what, two parts in that?
I was the judge. I think I had like four scenes as the judge, but then they also had a roll count, like a vote count, and they were showing people that they filmed say aye or nay, like on legislation. The whole thing had to do with slavery. But I was the one
Okay.
who they had my voice, I would say Rick Daniels, and then you would say I, and then I would say the next person, and they were real people in history and how they voted in legislation on slavery. So very
Cool.
interesting. I think it's something that they should show in classrooms or PBS. You and I talked
Oh,
about it. It could have a lot of value.
I anticipated that it would be on the History Channel, you know, like during Black History Month. Uh, I just, it hasn't gotten nearly the play I anticipated just because of the subject matter and the unique manner in which it was produced, and you know, and it's a good film. So I'm hoping it ultimately they do more with it. But I think they sold it, so who knows what's going to happen to it?
Well, I think like a movie like that, it was done by the University of Nebraska. Um, I really liked the way it was so collaborative. We're talking about a lot of neat things about it. They had the history department, and then the film department. I don't know who else, but they had like all these people involved in it who were experts in their area
Yeah.
doing this. I just thought it was really cool.
Oh yeah, I was very proud of that film. I think to date that was that was that and Rennie. Those two were what I call the most legitimate films in which I've had a speaking role. I've been in a few bigger films, but I was an extra. So
Sure.
these are the two most legitimate films in which I've had a speaking part.
What do you like most about being an actor?
Uh, the fact you get to play so many different parts. I mean, I just well, I shouldn't admit it, but I love seeing myself on film. A lot of actors will say, "Oh, I can't stand to watch myself. Oh, I hate it. I don't even go to movies I'm in. I'll go to one 3 or 4 times. Look, it's me. It's me. I mean, and, and I'm unashamed. I love to be recognized. I've only been recognized a few times, by people on the street, but I eat that up, man. I would, if I were famous, I'd love all my fans. I would. I'm serious.
I believe it. That's
I
great.
don't care.
What have you learned performing? You've been performing now for 3, 13, 30 something years. What have you learned? Oop, you locked up on me, Rick.
Oh,
Oh, what have you learned?
I guess the one thing I've learned is that it's a lot more work than people realize. I mean, I love it, but uh, my golly, even to make a bad film, it's just an incredible amount of work. And uh, a lot of actors say, "Oh my, it is work to be an actor." But I'll tell you, there are so many people behind the scenes who work so much harder than an actor. I mean, you go say your lines and go eat some M&Ms. Meanwhile, the grips, the director, the AD, the script continuity person, whoever that is, I mean, they are working just constantly. Like I say, you do a thing, then go wait around, talk. But a lot of those people are just working at a very intense level constantly. Like to be a director, to me, it's that would be a job I wouldn't want to have. It's too many things to juggle at once. What I like about being an actor is you have one job, get up there, do the lines, do them convincingly. Uh, I think it was Sir Laurence Olivier says somebody like that, somebody really famous. He said, being an actor is the easiest job there is. They tell you what to say, they tell you where to stand, they tell you what to wear, and all you have to do is follow instructions. I love it. So
Yeah.
yeah, when people say, "Oh, the life of an actor," woo woo woo, man, you chose it, and it ain't that hard. You know, I mean, you've got to study, you've got to learn the lines, but compared to a lot of other jobs on the set, it pales by comparison, as far as I'm concerned, with regard to the amount of effort involved.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to become an actor?
Whoo hoo hoo! Develop a thick skin. Get used to rejection. Uh, uh, you better go into it because you love it. Because except for people like Tom Cruise and people like that, there just isn't much money in it. I mean, uh, even anymore, even people who are quasi famous, don't make nearly the kind of money relatively that they used to. Um, I heard Edie McClure talking one day. She played. Oh, she was in Trains, Planes, and Automobiles, and I think she's from Kansas City. But she said the money just isn't there anymore because the the major star will come in and they take it all. And they said at one time, if you were a supporting player, you got paid quite well. But she said now you get triple scale, which to me sounds like a lot of money. But if you're living out in Hollywood and your house payments are $8,000 a month, it's not so much, you know.
Yeah, and you might
And
have three of those a year if everything goes
yeah,
well.
and from what I've seen, uh, well, actually, there are several people that I've talked to who are, well, there's one guy, I won't mention his name, but he appears quite frequently at the new theater. And I saw him one time, he was between shows. He was working as the security officer at the new theater. So he said, hey, they give me that down in Branson. A lot of those theaters, well, I guess they aren't really actors so much as, but they're entertainers. And uh, one of the guys who was working in the box office, he said they couldn't use me for this show. He was at the King's Castle, where they have like a permanent cast. There, most of them are British, and he said they couldn't really use me for this show. So thank God they let me work in the box office. So you know, it's just, and like you say, you get a film, and maybe you are making relatively good money, and that's 8 weeks. It's a major movie, and they say thank you very much. Maybe we'll do another one in a year or two. And and there are also several people. I don't know how they manage it, but they are well known actors in this town, and yet they have full time other jobs. Now, a lot of them are still like they're in television or something like that, but they aren't counting on, they might be a newscaster or something, but they sure aren't making their major money, even though they'll be at the Quality Health Playhouse or the one down at the American Heartland Theater or whatever down at Crown Center. But they still have another full time gig. I don't know how they schedule it, but they somehow manage. And then I know a few people who are full time actors and actresses, and it is a constant hustle. They're a standardized patient over at two or three medical schools in town. They they're in the new theater once in a while. Uh, and they do a lot of free stuff. I see people who I've seen it, you know, in the new theater, and they'll be in free films. So, uh, and they'll be working for free. So, because they love to act, you know.
Well, it's kind of like professional sports. Like, all these people grow up wanting to play pro basketball, pro football, pro baseball, uh, pro hockey in the northern parts of the US and Canada. But there's all these
Yeah,
people that
yeah.
want to do it. But boy, like going from high school to college is a big step. Going from college to pro, that's even a
Oh,
bigger step.
it's incredible. I mean, there are people who are college standouts and they go to tryouts, or maybe they're invited. They don't even make it, you
Hmm.
know. And um, I guess it's a top 1/10 of 1% or something. And it's like MMA. Yeah, if you get in the UFC, that's fine. But some of these smaller promotions, yeah, and they're professionals and they're getting their faces beat in. The only way they get paid is, they give them tickets, and you get, a percentage of every ticket you sell, and that is their pay for getting in there and getting their faces punched in.
Well, and
At
I've
one
even heard,
time,
yeah, some of the UFC fighters, there was a something in Kansas City with a UFC fighter here, and basically they got $20,000 to be in the fight. They weren't a Conor McGregor. They got $20,000. Out of that, they had to pay their ticket, they had to pay their manager's ticket, they had to pay the hotel rooms, their food, everything else, taxes. So I don't know how much you clear in the end, but maybe eight or $10,000 to fight
no,
in
it
the
wasn't
UFC.
Conor McGregor, was it, who
No,
got
no, of
20
course not.
grand?
No, no, not him. I'm saying he wasn't. Conor McGregor, I'm sure, makes
Oh,
millions of
okay,
dollars
okay.
a fight, but the people who are fighting in the undercard, unless they're well known, they're the same way. They're not making much.
Yeah. No, no. By the time you go home, you know, that's like that old Rocky movie. Well, let's see. You got the towel fee, you got the locker fee, and here's $10.
Yeah.
Uh, at one time, this was some years ago, but at one time, the tenth ranked heavyweight boxer in the world was a janitor, and that was his job. And he was number 10.
Wow.
And well, it's like musicians. Uh, I don't know if you ever heard of Little Hatch, but he was like world famous. He'd go on, he'd go on, uh, European tours and stuff. But in between, he worked like at the post office or someplace,
Wow.
and he was world famous. You know,
Yeah, it's hard. Uh, Basically, like, what have you learned to be able to become a quality actor? Like, where have you learned? What have you learned? How did you get to where you are now? Because I remember talking to you about you had a role that had a few sentences, and you made up an entire backstory about your character that you told me. You were a police captain, and you talked all this whole story you made up about this person who had a limited role, but you had a huge backstory. How did you learn to do stuff like that?
I don't think anybody. I have taken some acting classes, but as far as the backstory, and a lot of people do that, but nobody ever told me to do it. I just do it, and that really helps me become the character. You know, Otherwise it's just like you say, two or three lines. But and then it's me saying the lines. But when I have the backstory, then that just becomes a an extension of that person who I invented.
No, I think that's great. I think that's great. Where did you have acting classes?
Well, I took some really short ones through University, and then I took, they were like 1 or 2 sessions, and then I took a course at Commercial Actors Studio when it was uh, owned by Brian Cutler. He's out in Los Angeles now, so I took that. Uh, I've also been to Seminar Leader School, and I think that helped. I was on the road for about 8.5 years as a seminar leader, and that's performance too, and that helped. Uh, I went to DJ training. I'm a graduate of the Boom Boom Brannigan uh, DJs, Boom Boom Brannigan's Star Maker Disc Jockey Course. That's what it is. The
It's so
Boom
funny.
Boom Brannigan.
Oh no, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Daniel. Rick.
Oh, the Boom Boom Brannigan Star Maker Disc Jockey Course. It was a correspondence course, and Boom Boom Brannigan was a real DJ in the like 50s.
Wow.
Back when they did a lot of patter, DJ patter. So we learned that, and I also had disc jockey training when I worked for DJs Incorporated. I worked for them for about 5 years.
And
So
you were a psychologist for How long?
Oh, I was licensed as a psychologist, still am, but it's an inactive license. I was from 74 to about 2019.
Well,
So,
yeah, a long time. And I was going to ask that, do you ever use some of the people that you talked with, not in a negative way, but like to get to know your character better?
uh, when I'm playing sociopaths, uh, my work with sociopaths uh, kind of helps me come up, I think, project that coldness. That's the one thing that comes to mind.
Okay, that's
Uh,
great. I wondered, like I had Thomas Smith on a week or two ago, and we were talking about, like, he was talking about understanding characters because of all of his life experience. And you
mhm.
have a tremendous amount of life experience. You've done so many things, and you have, like, most people never become a police officer. And honestly, most people don't have like the intellect and the discipline to get a PhD. And I was around PhD psychologists for years, and they were some of the smartest people I ever met. And I wondered, like, do you use all of your background and all of your learning? You were a seminar leader and all of these other things. Do those come into play, not just psychologists, but do those come into play whenever you're doing characters?
Well, I think they do. I mean, because they're all part of me, and I'm part of all the characters I play. I think everybody, you can have a role and have 10 people audition for it, and you'll get 10 different versions of the character. And a lot of it has to do with how they prepare and maybe the backstory they come up with the character. But that's all part of the person who comes to the audition, you know. So I think everybody does that. I think every character is a part of every actor who plays that character. Like, some of these plays that travel and have different companies playing, theatrical companies performing the play in different places. Yeah, you'll see different people play the character, and it's fascinating to see what they bring to it. Even though the characters are similar, they're all unique depending upon the character who plays them.
I will tell you one of the most fascinating experiences with that I've ever seen. The IFCKC, they gave multiple directors scripts and then they filmed it like, I don't know how long it had to be, 6 or 8 minutes or less. And they had 4 or 5 different versions of the same story. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved every one of them because they were different. One would have a different leading man than the other. One wouldn't even hardly have a leading man. It would be like a minor character. It was just great. It was great.
Oh, yeah, IFC is a lot of fun. Uh, the other night they had, but well, actually, that wasn't really. I don't think that was part of the IFC. It was people who are affiliated with the IFC, but I think this was a separate event. But it was a bunch of short films, and it was quite interesting. They have a lot of competitions. Uh, the IFC, if you're into film and you're not a part of that, I recommend that you attend a few meetings. It's free. They of course would like you to join, but you don't have to. And they have a variety of really interesting programs, really about all aspects of filmmaking. It's not just acting. They had one on lighting, and they had one on sound. They have a different program every time. It's quite interesting and informative.
It is really great that we have that. I think they are um, the reason why Kansas City has so many films and so many filmmakers and actors. I mean, I think they really do provide such a wonderful resource.
Oh, absolutely. It's a good training ground, and they provide some financial support for some filmmakers. They I don't know how they select the people, but they have certain small grants. $1,000 here, $1,000 there to help people get their films made and so forth. So yeah, it's a great resource for anybody who's interested in film, any aspect of film, really.
All right, you brought up earlier that you've been a barbecue judge since 2010 or 2013 or something thereabouts. Um,
Thereabouts.
yeah, and you also talked about being excited when people brought in brisket to eat. So tell
Oh
us,
yeah.
if somebody from out of town came to Kansas City and they say, I will drive anywhere within 50 miles of Kansas City, I can only eat at one barbecue restaurant. Where are you going to recommend?
Oh my, you've put me on the spot. I'll tell you my favorites that aren't necessarily anybody. Barbecue is very subjective.
I want to hear
Uh,
your favorite.
I've got to tell you my two because they're different types of barbecue. Okay, um, one is Rosedale. That's my favorite barbecue joint barbecue. The
Okay.
other one is the upscale one. God, what is the name of it?
Is it Jack
Uh,
Stack or Smokehouse?
Jack Jack Stack. Jack Stack.
You know,
Jack Stack.
Jack Stack is winning this, my informal survey. Jack Stack is winning. I had Robbie
Yeah.
Lopez on. He also said Jack Stack, and I've had other people say it as well.
Oh yeah. Well, it's excellent barbecue, but now it's upscale, and you pay considerably more at Jack Stack than you would at Rosedale. And Rosedale isn't cheap anymore. What used to be my favorite thing for 10.99 is now like I think 17.99, but it's still a relative bargain. It's the long end dinner. You get a big bunch of ribs, fries, slaw, beans, and two pieces of Wonder Bread. And and over all that, they have this about a half slab of ribs. It's great. But now, if you got something similar at Jack Stack, you get the ribs and maybe one side, and I'll guarantee you it'd be considerably more. But the ribs are different.
I got to give Rosedale another chance. I went one time and I didn't think it was great, but I've heard so many people say it's their favorite place over the years. So I need to
Hmm.
give them another chance. Sometimes you order the
Okay.
wrong thing places.
Don't go on a Friday because that's when everybody says, "Let's go to Rosedale," and you'll have this big line. Uh, but I would suggest the long end dinner. That'll give you a little bit of everything and a big bunch of ribs.
Now, tell me, I know you've met me on set, so not me, but is there anyone on set that when you see them, you know it's going to go well?
Hmm. Well, a film's like a puzzle. There are so many parts, and there's so many things can happen. So I don't think the presence of any one person guarantees that a film is going to go well.
Okay, okay, okay.
Man, you get ready to shoot. Damn, the battery's dead. You
Yeah,
know.
boy, that happens all the time too. Surprising how much that
Oh
happens.
yeah. Certain people on film. You're going to have a good time, but the filming is not necessarily going to go well. I always like to see you on set because we always have a great time.
Well, I like to see you on set too, and we were just on Finding Tessa by Eric Willis,
Yep, yep, yep.
and I think I don't know how many you're in. 5 scenes. We have about the same number of lines, but I'm in 6 scenes and 4 of them are with you, and 2 of them are with Jeremy Walters.
Oh, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Jeremy's fault.
Walter. I think he probably hates it. Everybody says Walters and water, but it's Walter, I believe. Um,
Walter.
but yeah,
Walters.
okay.
Walter. There's no S. I don't
I,
think there's an S.
yeah, I don't
I
think
think
so either, but oh well. Maybe he won't watch
Jeremy
it.
Walter. Now, Jeremy, boy, that is a dedicated actor. He is in everything. He does a lot of stage work. I mean, I haven't gotten to go see him yet, but I keep meaning to.
I went and saw him after Wholesome Grove. We were in, I don't know how many scenes together, 15 or so. And so I saw him all the time. And at that point, like, he was talking about he was practicing for a play as he was finishing up Wholesome Grove. So my wife and I went and saw him in the play where everything goes wrong or something like that is what it was called.
Oh, yeah.
And he was fantastic. He had the goofy role. He was great. I loved watching him.
Oh, yeah. He's a really good actor.
I just love watching people that I know in movies. That's why I
Hey,
watched
I
Below
know
the
that
Fold.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I watched Below the Fold. I saw you. I don't know Davis as well as you, but Davis and you, like it's wonderful to me to see people I know on film or at a play. I get a kick out of it.
Yeah. You know that Below the Fold that got 100% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
It is actually that's one of the best movies to come out of Kansas City. I mean, it really is. That's one of the best. I'm not going to say the best, but that movie was put together so well. It was just executed wonderfully.
You know, that was the director, writer, that was his first feature film. Now he's a professional. He works in the video department of some corporation. I think he makes their training films and stuff. But as far as a feature film, that was his first. And to get 100% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, I mean, there are multi-million-dollar films that don't come close that make a bunch of money. So, yeah, I was really happy to have been selected to play a role in that film.
No, it was
It
excellent.
was, yeah.
How do you learn your lines?
Oh, just over and over. I mean, just repetitions. I mean, uh, now some some films the lines are easier to learn, like uh,
So Finding Tessa, I think we talked about it.
right, yeah, those lines for some reason I still it's hard for me to learn lines, but those were easier to learn than lines for a lot of other films. And that's tell me the name of the director who I've only worked with
Eric
like 6 times.
Eric Willis.
Eric Willis. Eric, the way he writes just seems to make sense to me. And my brain says, ooh, these are the way people talk. So these are the way I would talk. So they're easier to learn. But some lines are just terrible. Well, the lines from uh, the Bell Affair, that was kind of archaic English, and that was very difficult for me to learn. And when they came out and said, "Oh, we're gonna make it an animated film, and you've got to do all this stuff," because I'm a technophobe, I thought, "Oh my." I took all that time to learn all that. And now I can't be in it because I can barely send email. But Elijah Watson, the guy, I can't even remember what his official title was, but he talked me through every little thing. I think he was at his keyboard 24/7. He says, "Call me anytime if you have a problem." I called him a lot, and Elijah Watson got me through that. Bless his heart, he should be a saint. But yeah, those were very difficult lines, although they were so eloquent, it was unbelievable. But
So you
yeah,
just do repetition. You just read them over and over, practice them over and over. You spend time in the lines.
yeah, of course, sometimes I'll tape myself too. Wait a minute, I'm trying to get rid of this call. I can't answer this call. Okay, I should turn this phone off. That's what I should do. Anyway, sorry about that.
Okay.
Now we will not be disturbed again. Anyway, yeah, what do you do?
Well, I've done different things, but I have to tell you, doing this, the a lady talked about. I always made my poor wife do lines with me, and she absolutely hates it. It's like spousal abuse having her do lines with me because she hates it so much. Um, so I started doing the um, record myself saying the other people's lines with pauses, which, by the way, the
Yeah,
pauses are
I've done
never
that.
long enough, but pauses and whatever I think
Right.
it
Yeah,
should be. And I started doing that just recently, and it is fantastic. I don't know why I never thought of that simple trick before. It's better than anything I've ever done. So,
yeah. Now that you mention it, I have done that a few times.
yeah,
But
it makes it easy.
like you say, the pauses are never long enough. So,
Yeah. I find
and then
myself being interrupted by myself all the time.
sometimes I'll just read the other lines and then respond to them too.
Yeah. Well, good. What's the hardest part about being an actor to you?
Hmm. Well, I think what we just talked about, memorizing the lines, the rejection doesn't bother me at all because, uh, my dating history, it prepared me for that. I'm, I'm totally insensitive to rejection. I don't care, doesn't bother me. So yeah, I think memorizing the lines is the hardest. And one thing, since I'm older and don't have much patience, uh, I'm lucky. Like I love to shoot with Eric, and I love to shoot with Robbie Lopez because they both schedule it so you aren't on set for a long time. But I've been to others where they want you to show up at you know 10 in the morning and they don't get to you till 3 in the afternoon, which doesn't make any sense at all. Uh, so I hate that. I hate the waiting around. And I really don't like the. Well, you have to have some repetition, even if you say it right, because they have to have the different angles and the different close-ups on everybody, and that is a bit tedious to me. But I mean, it's an absolutely necessary part of the filmmaking process. So, but really, I think overall, learning the lines is the hardest part for me.
Where do you see yourself this next year? Like, what are you planning on doing? I know you have some roles that are already lined up, but any other roles that you're looking at, or just where do you see yourself?
Well, no, I just kind of watch for the casting notices and respond to them. I don't have any particular plan or anything. Never have really. I've always just kind of been reactive.
Do you
You know,
get roles
there.
now without auditioning ever?
Uh, Robbie does. He'll put me in things without auditioning. But Eric. I mean, you audition for everything for Eric. So
Yeah, it is funny. It's like, hey, my strengths and my weaknesses. You've worked with me. I've done dozens of lines with you and stuff, but I also kind of respect it in some ways because he's not just giving it to me or you. He wants
yeah,
competition for the role.
and
And
he wants the right person in the right role. And you can tell by the finished product that he takes great care in selecting people for each role. You know,
Yeah, I think it's actually, as I've gone back and forth on it. Like, 'cause I thought, why do I have to audition when I just did this project? But that's like crummy on my part. The reality is he's doing it in the way that I wish everybody did it.
yeah.
Give
I
everybody a
mean,
chance and not just have the same people over and over just because you like them or because you've worked with them. Open it up. And if somebody shows up that's better than that person in your eyes on that role, then hire them for it instead of the same. Because
yeah.
some of the people work with the same people over and over and over. Every movie's the same people.
Oh, yeah. It's like, yeah, there are a few of those folks at the IFC, and they've got their little group, and that's who
Yeah.
makes. They don't even do auditions, as far as I know.
I think that's possibly true. But any words of wisdom before we head out here? Any words of wisdom, Daniel or Rick? Rick.
Rick, thank you. We're good. We're going to get you. We're going to get you conditioned to that sooner or later. Anyway, I really don't, except for the fact, uh, you know, if you're going to do it because you love it. Develop a thick skin and just stay with it. And one thing to just know is just because you don't get a role, that is not necessarily an indication that you didn't have a good audition. You could have had the best audition in the world, but somebody's got a friend. Or, well, I auditioned for one role, and the guy told me. He said the guy I picked for the role really wasn't the best, but I need him for something else. And later this year, and if he doesn't get this role, he's going to go on. These were professional. This professional company. He said, if he doesn't get this role, he'll move on to another town, and then I won't have him for the role I want him for next spring or whatever. So he's got the role. Sorry, you know. There was another one where they told me I had a fantastic audition, but they chose somebody else. And when I saw the film, I realized, and the guy did a great job, but I realized that his look was much more consistent with the overall look of the film. And like I said, when I was in that audition, they said, "Man, that was incredible." I was playing some sociopath. They said I was actually afraid. I felt it go through me, but then I didn't get the role. So, like I say, don't take that necessarily. Always try to be better. Always think it over. Review it in your mind, but do not assume that you didn't do a good job. You may have done a great job, but there are a multitude of reasons why one person is chosen for the role and not another person. So just know that.
That's great. And I've heard before it called the kiss of death if after your audition people tell you how great you did. Because
Well, I've heard that too. I don't necessarily believe it
okay.
because for uh, Rennie, you know, they I did the lines they asked me to do, and they said, "Oh, does anybody want to redirect?" And uh, somebody said, "No, that was perfect. Thank you very much," and I got the role. So
Well, that's good. That's good. By the way, when one of the saddest movies that I could not audition for, and I we might have talked about it at the time, but it's been 3 years ago. I was doing Wholesome Grove when Rennie was being filmed, and I knew I could not do both. And
yeah,
it hurt. I wanted to do both, but I
and I
could
wish you'd
barely
have
do
been in
Wholesome
that
Grove. It was so much.
because I'd have, and you did a great job in Wholesome Grove, but I know you'd have been a knight or something. You know, you're a big guy, and and even with the beard and everything, you'd have had a great look for that whatever renting role you did. So
That's great.
I
Um,
wish you'd have been in that.
yeah, it would have been fun, but it's just sometimes you have other
Yeah,
things going on.
you had a big role in Wholesome Grove. What I have, two lines or something. So
Yeah, well,
that
it's
was no
okay. I'm okay with, there's been people before where I'm in something and I have a really like a fairly large role and they don't, and then the next project is the other way around, and that's great.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, I was wishing you could have been in Wholesome Grove too, because I think you'd have been great in any role in it, and it was a really good movie. So
That's
you
good.
know,
Anything else to add, Dan? Rick?
yeah. No,
Rick
well, I
Daniels.
tell you, those few words of wisdom exhausted me. I don't have that many, so yeah,
Well,
I
I think
think
you've got some more in there, but that's great. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end it now, and I love talking to you.
great talking to you. Anytime.
All right, I'll
Hey,
see you again.
hey,
Yeah,
when you want to go to Rosedale, let me know. We'll go together. I'll meet you there.
that sounds perfect.
I'll coach you through it.
You'll coach me
Yeah.
on how to. All right. Well, hey, I was supposed to be in Texas next week, or no, actually, never mind. I'm going to be somewhere else. The next week I was supposed to be in Texas, but I think it got canceled. So because
Oh,
I am
okay.
just like
Hey,
you, I am a traveling trainer, just like you were.
yeah. Hey, how many barbecue contests did you actually end up judging?
Two. I judged
Okay.
two contests, but honestly, I could have probably judged four more. But I have like my daughter's coming to town next weekend.
Sure.
Like if and then filming, I did, like I probably
Well, I'm
15
glad you got
weekends.
to do it. You did have fun doing it, right?
I enjoyed it. Actually, I loved it. It's just uh the acting stuff is more important and family is more important. So
Sure, sure. You can't do it all.
right.
Anyway, hey, thank you so much for having me. It's been fun. Uh, Anybody else who gets the opportunity, please do a podcast with Kyle here. And I wish everybody a great time. And if you decide to become an actor, good luck. Knock their socks off. Thank you very much.